Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on the Exponential Potential podcast. And this month, the theme is all about leadership, and we're actually going to start the theme early this one month because there's so much that we want to put in. What leadership is, how you can be a leader, not just in your business, but at home with your family, your social circles, how you can even create a movement and have impact from a very micro point of view to a very macro point of view for humanity. So that's what this month's theme is all about. And today the topic is all around why you need to be holding transformational retreats in your business and unlock success in a whole new way that you've never thought of before if you've never thought of holding a retreat. And I have a fabulous guest with me today. I'm really honored and blessed to have you with us, Dr. Sheri Rosenthal. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Jen. This is amazing. I'm so excited to be here for your audience and answer some questions and have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sheri is I've been watching Sheri for a while. That sounds a bit stalkerish. But it's not. I've wanted to incorporate retreats into my business for quite some time. And I live in Italy, in rural Italy, so it is the perfect location. And Sheri just gives so much information and expertise and incredibly generous with you're incredibly generous with what you provide within your Facebook group and your community. And I've signed up for a few, and I'm now, I'm coming to be in the right place to be able to go ahead with doing more and reaching those dreams of having retreats. So Sheri, let me just introduce you properly. I just completely skipped that because I was so excited. So Sheri helps passion-driven entrepreneurs to it shows them how to design, plan, price, promote, and monetize exceptional, because retreats are everywhere, but she really delves into the exceptional experiential retreats and allows you as an entrepreneur or even as a business leader, I would think that would also be a good fit, how to really stand out in their niche, as well as helping them create businesses that give them the freedom, and I'm all about freedom, to travel the world and help more people and make a greater impact while earning a good income and a proper income from this.
Exactly.
So, yes. Anything you want to add to that?
No,
No,
Jen,
that's it.
I think that pretty much covers it. So thank you so much for the lovely introduction. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. And I'm intrigued, as I'm sure anybody that knows you or has heard about you a little bit, I'm intrigued about your journey because I understand that you were a medical doctor with a very successful medical practice. So how did you go, or what was it that drew you, to bring you where you are today?
Everyone has a personal journey, right, Jen?
Yeah.
So for me, I'd practiced medicine for 18 years. And I'm one of those people that could probably do anything well, but it doesn't mean because you can do something well, you should be doing it. So it just wasn't what I was passionate about in life. My parents really pushed me in the direction of medicine because they were concerned about me making a living and being successful. And I totally understand that. I'm more of a creative person, so that was a little challenging for me. So finally, like when I was around 40, I left practice and I started studying with Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the Four Agreements. So many people are familiar with that New York Times bestselling book. And I also ran his business for a couple of years also. So I learned about retreats because Don Miguel Ruiz mostly does retreats, at least he did back then. And so I really learned the business. We had a large number of people that came on them, and I became very passionate because the first retreat changed my life. The very first one I went on with him, it was like a 180, like someone spun my head around and showed me what my life could be and why my life was the way it was. And so I went through 8 years of working through forgiveness and personal growth and being honest with myself and breaking beliefs that weren't serving me and all that good stuff that we do when we are on a personal path. And so I actually started teaching the Four Agreements in 2003, and I wrote several books on that Toltec tradition, which are still on Amazon today. And then in 2014, one of my very good clients passed, and it kind of changed things for me. And I don't know, I knew it was time for change. I tried to reinvent myself a few times. It didn't work out very well. But finally, with a lot of introspection, one morning I just woke up and said, oh my gosh, I should be teaching about retreats. I love them. I'm passionate about them. And I think we should always be sharing something we're deeply passionate about. And that's when I created Wanderlust Entrepreneur and started training coaches, facilitators, authors, passion driven entrepreneurs on how to add transformational retreats to their business. And it's been wonderful ever since.
That's been 10 years. Just about 10 years.
About. When I started teaching the Four Agreements, I actually opened my travel agency in 2003. And back then, I was running my own retreats through my travel agency. Right. And then friends started asking me to help them with their retreats. So I've been in retreat management and planning basically since I started working for Don Miguel in 2000. So it's been 23 years of heavy duty retreat management and planning, both for others and myself.
So certainly an expert and genius in your realm. Absolutely. And I also, you're helping entrepreneurs, but you're also a highly successful entrepreneur yourself. And it makes a difference, doesn't it, when you've been through that journey?
Yes. Well, I've owned multiple businesses over the years. So I've been fortunate. A lot of people come into coaching and facilitating as an employee of a business.
Yes.
They don't have the business background, and practicing medicine for 18 years. And then my ex-husband and I had a Gold's Gym, which I ran, and, having taught the Four Agreements for years. So running a business and being in business is natural for me. I love being an entrepreneur, and I try to inspire others to take that on also.
Yes, excellent. And you certainly do that. So well, actually, first of all, why now the title is why you need to or should be, although I don't like the word should. I think need is a really good word. Why do you need to be creating and implementing transformational retreats into your business? Why now more than ever?
I can answer that very easily, Jen. So here's the situation. I think in any business, one should not put all the eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
So for example, if you're a coach, a facilitator, or author, a lot of people some people will do actual one-on-one coaching as the basis of the business. Some people do live from the stage. A lot of people do workshops. I think you need to be able to give your people a variety of experiences because they all have different purposes. For example, a workshop really is heavy duty information. It can be transformational. I'm not saying workshops are not, but it's a different format. It's more about imparting information that people can use to accomplish something. One-on-one coaching may go more one-on-one and deeper. A retreat is a small group. It's very energetic. Like there's something that happens when you're holding space for a group of people that is very deep and very surprising, and it's almost like its own organism. And so you're imparting an opportunity for people to grow and have a different kind of experience, not so much in their head, although you can certainly teach some on a retreat. But what I really teach when it comes to retreats is how to create an experience for someone that you're taking people out of their mind and putting them in their heart and allowing that experience to be like the
Container.
transformational aspect instead of the knowledge. So it's going from being didactic to being very heart inspired. So by adding retreats into the business, you have multiple tools, and some people respond better with one-on-one. Some do very well with the magic of small groups. Others do well in a workshop. Some do well with a little of each. But that way, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. And right now, people want to experience something. After being locked up, especially for several years, they want to get out and feel something. Again, not that you can't from speaking from the stage or being in a workshop, but they want to be like, they want someone to slap them in the face and turn their head around. Like what happened to me in my first retreat, that they want to come away with, wow, I don't have to see the world like this in this way anymore. And it does not just apply to people who are doing very deeply transformational work. Like a lot of people think retreats are just for woo-woo people. And I'm a woo-woo person. I say that with affection, so not in any disrespectful way. But for example, let's say you were very passionate about cooking and knives, and you wanted to take your group to Japan to where they actually forge knives and learn how to cut properly with a knife and how to choose a good knife. And you may say, well, that's a fun retreat. That's not a transformational retreat. But that's not true, because again, you have the space for passionate cooks and chefs to come together and share their experience and talk about the things they're up against. Like for someone who's very passionate about food and doing a dinner party, maybe for them, it's very important to be able to cut their vegetables properly. I mean, it may seem silly to some people, but other people like that ability changes everything. And the ability to choose a knife well. You can do a wine retreat, you could do a knitting retreat, as well as you can do, a Reiki retreat or a spiritual retreat. I have a gentleman who does naked gay men's retreats. And you may think, well, that's not transformational. Yes, it is deeply transformational when you have to get undressed in front of somebody and be at peace with your own body. There are aspects to these things that people don't think about. And the key is to learn how to do something like this and be creative. For example, if I was teaching speaking, yeah, you could do a workshop on how to speak. But what if you took your people to where there's a ruin, where orators were at, thousands of years ago, and you're in this beautiful place and amphitheater in Greece or so, or wherever. And you have your people stand up there and have to give a speech in this amphitheater in this beautiful country and just be in the energy of that. It's not the same thing as getting up in front of, a group of people in a room. I'm sorry. It's not the same thing.
It's not. And I feel the energy as you're talking about it. You can almost feel, you were saying, well, why would that be transformational? But when you are in that group of people, and it's interesting, the other people that are on the retreat, it's like everybody that's there is meant to be there at that time with those other people.
Yes.
Because everybody brings something. And the energy, like you say, there's such a unique and powerful energy. Certainly with the retreats that I've been on, the powerful energy that's contained in that. And then the incredible friendships, lifelong friendships that you make.
Absolutely.
And connections. And it is. And I think from a business point of view, what I've missed, so I used to do a lot of face-to-face. And now I've, moving to Italy, I don't have that so much because yes, there's quite a few English people around here. But there's a lot, and I speak some Italian, but I'm not fluent. I'm learning. But I miss from a facilitator point of view, I miss that. I miss being in that space and being in that energy and being in person with a group of, like you say, a group of people that's an intimate group. So and the fact that you could do it with anything. Can you give some other ideas of where you could use a retreat that some people wouldn't usually think about? So what other retreats have you seen?
Okay, so if you're doing a writing retreat, yes, you could do it in the woods somewhere. And yes, that would actually be beautiful. But what if you took your group to Edinburgh and you went there and, it's a literary capital. There's so much to see in museums and walks and Harry Potter things. And there's so much. And the energy of that, where you're with all of these historic writers, I think is awesome. So again, it's about matching what you teach to a location, which requires you to think about the mythology of the location.
Yes.
Okay.
I love that. Yes.
Every place has a mythology. And so when you hook into that mythology, that's when the magic happens. Like, for example, you and I were talking, we have a retreat coming up to Teotihuacan, Mexico in September. So let's think about that for a minute. Yes, it's going to a ruin. And as a more spiritually minded retreat for business people, yes, you can say, okay, let me take them to a spiritually minded ruin. But when you use the ruin itself and the mythology of the ruin, like each plaza of the ruins has a mythology, and you take people through a process on the land, not talking to them in the meeting room, taking them out on the land, plaza by plaza, and taking them through a process, that's where the magic happens. And when you're using the mythology of the location to teach the material rather than you sitting didactically imparting information.
Yeah, it feels so different. And that's interesting actually, because I'm planning to have a retreat coming up in May in Italy, and I was looking at locations because one of the reasons we moved here, so I live at the bottom of a mountain basically. I'm in really rural Italy, and 40 minutes is the coast. But one of the reasons we were really drawn here because the energy here is incredible. And I'm all about nature and grounding and helping people find inner peace and harmony and everything else. And the mythology, some of the mythology that's with this mountain. So it's called Mayella. The national park is called Mayella. Mayella, Maya, Mother Earth. And the mountain is Montemore, Mountain of Love.
Yes.
And there's even the water that comes down. In fact, we've got a massive Diceco factory, pasta factory, not far. So they're all export all over the world. It's and they use the spring water from the glaciers from the mountain. And there's stories about mother's milk because it's very chalky. So there's the Mayella Mountain, which is Mother Earth nurturing fertility. And then there's the milk of the mother, which is the water cascading over the chalk. It's just over the Mayella stone. It's incredible. Yeah.
Love it.
So when I was looking at retreats, I was looking at a location nearer the sea, and it's beautiful, but the energy is so different and it didn't feel right. It's like, no, it needs to be here, needs to be where we are.
Yes,
So yes,
exactly.
yes,
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'll give you another example. So
yes.
again, we have a second retreat this year to Bhutan in November, and that is finding the Buddha nature within, and it's using their tantric Buddhists in Bhutan. And so we're going to be going to the different temples and meditating in the different places and having a lama's blessing ceremony, but using the wisdom of Buddhism to see how can we use some of this wisdom to help us in our businesses, in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
and see things differently, because their philosophy is gross national happiness rather than gross national product. And so it's using the mythology of the country to make changes in ourselves. And so, again, it's always about matching the location to what it is you're teaching and sharing in the theme of your retreat. And so,
Mm-hmm.
again, it doesn't matter if you think, oh, I don't, knitting retreat would be, I don't teach anything transformational. Well, yes, you do. Like, even with a knitting retreat, someone comes away learning how to do something they never thought they'd be able to do. Or if you were doing a knitting retreat, why not take them to New Zealand, where
With all the lambs, the wool. Mm.
see how that wool is like thousands of years old knitting.
Mm-hmm.
See how they shear the sheep, how they spin the wool, how they dye it naturally. Get some of that wool and knit
Mm.
something from that in your heart came from the earth like that. It is
Mm.
deeply transformational. And so, like, I can turn anything into a transformational retreat.
And that's where you use the words exceptional experiential retreats, and they truly are, because there's so many people offering retreats now these days. They're calling something a retreat, when
Calling something a retreat,
calling, yes,
but it is
calling,
not.
no, because, and can you explain the difference between, so and there are online retreats as well, and I see it all the time coming up in feeds and
Yeah.
ads and things, online
Yeah.
retreat, and I know through COVID did do something around that because of COVID, people needed it, but
Yes.
now they can get out and travel.
Yes,
you know
exactly.
so you've explained, I can really feel, and I'm sure the listeners can understand the experiential retreat element. So why do you think, or are there any other differences between an actual retreat and someone calling something a retreat?
Well, because basically it's that difference of the experiential part. So, for
Mm.
example, a lot of people call workshops retreats. I'm sorry, it's not a retreat. First of all, the word retreat means to go within. If there's no time during your event to do that because you are going from 9 to 5 p.m. giving information and breakout groups, that's not a retreat. It's not a
Yes.
retreat. Stop calling it that. And it also, if you're not using the mythology of the location and people are in a room every day, you're doing a workshop in a pretty place. That's really what you're doing. Let's just say it like it is. You're
Yes.
not doing, and it could be, again, transformational, your workshop. I'm not saying it isn't, but it's not a retreat. So I
Mm-hmm.
wish people would stop calling everything a retreat, because it
They're just
isn't.
jumping on the bandwagon. It's like,
Just call it
no.
a workshop, or call it an event, a live event from the
Yes. Yeah.
stage, but stop calling everything a retreat. It's just a
Yeah.
little pet peeve of mine. If it's a retreat, let it be a retreat, because there's difference between a workshop in a pretty place and a transformational retreat, whether it's destination or local.
Yes. Yeah, I completely agree and see that. And I think when you are wanting to book onto a retreat, be mindful, and because there is so many out there. And I know, Sheri, you have your travel company that also helps entrepreneurs with the searching locations and ideas and administration and the sort of legalities as well, and negotiating pricing, which is really important. But yeah, I think being mindful of who you choose to have a retreat with is important, and do your homework and see what shifts some energy as you're reading something.
Absolutely. And I think it's really critical, when you're doing a retreat, to not do it for everybody. The more niche down you can get when you do a retreat, so that the promise of the retreat is very specific, so that when people read it, they know exactly who it's for and what they're going to walk away with. Because actually, right now, there's so many retreats out there, which is why a lot of people say, well, there's so many retreats out there, why should I compete with them? If done right, you're really not competing with anyone, because you are marketing it to your own people, which is really where you should market it to, not strangers who don't know, like, and trust you. Myself, I certainly would not choose to go on a retreat with someone I haven't been following for a while. Why would I want to spend thousands of dollars traveling with someone who I have no idea what they're going to say, or how they say it, or really what they're teaching? And so many people, when they do retreats for the first time, they're like, put the retreat out there in social media, and it's like, oh, I'm just going to advertise this all over. I'm like, really? Are people really gonna, you want those people? They're coming for maybe the location, not for you and what you're teaching, and they can be problem children on your retreat. So
That's a
that's
really
never
good
a good
point.
idea. Retreats are very intimate. They're made for you to have an intimate experience with your followers. And so you should be marketing your retreats to the people on your list. So what I always say to people is, build your list all year long and your following on social media. And then when you have your retreat, market it to those people, not strangers. I would never. Would you go on a retreat with someone you didn't know? It's like, and you didn't know what they were going to be teaching and sharing?
That's a really good point, because I was going to run a retreat last year, but I didn't have enough. And I actually took a step back and I thought, actually, I want people that I have a connection with
To you,
already, to
who
me,
love
as a,
you.
yes, exactly. That have been following me, because they, and also that also draws in really like-minded people.
Yes,
So you're
Jen.
in the retreat with the right people and the right leader, facilitator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is so key, and people don't think about it. They're like, oh, I'm going to do Facebook ads, I'm going to put it all over the place. Okay. Good luck with that, because your retreat is it could be very strange. And I've experienced strange and have no desire to do that again. So yeah.
And talking of relationships, so what does that do from a facilitator, coach, consultant, author? What does that then do, the relationship between them and their clients, when you hold an incredible transformational retreat?
Oh, they're your biggest fans. They're going to keep coming back. They're going to refer other like-minded people. It's just good all the way around. Just the power of a retreat. So the second retreat I went on, two of the people on that trip worked for me as coaches. And one from the first trip I went on. They're family now.
Yeah.
And the third coach, the fourth coach in my business, I met her much later on a later retreat. And this is so powerful, because like you said, these are lifelong friends and people who you love, and that you may go on adventures with, or who knows where it's going to take you. And this is a long time ago. This is like, my first retreat was what, 1998. And these people are a part of my family and my business.
Yeah.
Because they're lovers of retreats too. So
Yes. Yeah, you share the same aspirations, and because you can totally see that. Yes. So what I just, so you've given some examples of retreats. You mentioned that there's a retreat leader that runs retreats for gay men and that everyone's naked, which sounds incredible. Are there any other really bizarre out there? What's the strangest retreat that you've ever come across?
Right now, like psychedelic retreats are popular, for transformational work, not just to go and get buzzed.
Yeah.
But you have that is very popular right now. I've seen retreats like when people have an experience and are passionate about it and want to share about it, like women with Hashimoto's disease, someone who is post-cancer thriver retreats for parents who have lost a child, for healing and grieving. What you would not believe, just like if someone has something in their head that they've experienced or gone through or are interested in. Someone wanted to do baseball retreats for women, like because they're ignored in that. Just like all different kinds of topics and things. So you have the more thematic retreats where maybe the retreat leader there is not teaching so much, but has experts there, like with a knitting retreat, they're teaching the places where the sheeps are being shorn or turned into wool. They're teaching the material. So they don't have to be teaching so much, but they're actually the space holder for a thematic retreat versus someone who's more of a coach, just like I am. I've done retreats for retreat leaders to learn how to do retreats. So, like you have things like that. It just depends on what you do, what you're passionate about, or what you feel you're pulled to be sharing right now. And a lot of people, although yes, there are young people who are running retreats, I find a lot of people who are running retreats right now are people who have already had a career, and this is now their passion-based thing, where it's something that touched them deeply in their life and they're compelled to share with other people.
Yeah. My first retreat was to Italy 15 years ago. And I remember saying, and here I am. I thought then, I was like, I could totally live here. And I'd been to Italy a couple of times prior to that, but not in this way. And I was like, yeah, I could live here. And then here I am. Exactly. And again, and I still have friends, the people that I met there are still in my life.
Yes.
Yes.
That's why I'm so passionate about teaching about retreats.
And it's inspired me to want to hold retreats. Yes. As well. Exactly. So yeah, it's such a massive it's transformational, but it's also so inspiring to want to do more, to have a deeper impact. Yeah. And I think then the ripple effect of that. So it's not just transformation for you, it's transformation for the retreat leader as well, isn't it?
Absolutely, 1000%. I'm having an experience the same time my people are. And there's so much that we experience in confidence, in standing in our power, and allowing what spirit, God, whatever your word is, to come through you as your passion, is being shared with people. And so this is your purpose that's coming through. So absolutely, every retreat is life-changing for me.
As a leader facilitator.
As a leader,
yes, because we're all teaching each other, aren't we?
Absolutely.
We're all evolving and growing together.
I'm learning from my participants.
Yes. Yeah. It is truly magical.
They're a mirror. They're reflecting things back to me that I need to see and learn. So yes, it's just a completely amazing thing.
And one other question. What do you think? What are your thoughts around collaborating with somebody else to hold a retreat?
I have mixed feelings about it, Jen. Here's why. I have to ask, what is the purpose of having someone else co-teach with you? Because 99% of the time, that person does not align with you as well as you think. They have a different teaching style. I've heard, people go on a retreat and they're very convivial and will eat with their group, and then the other person hides in their room. There's so much alignment that needs to happen when you're co-facilitating with somebody. And otherwise, the energy becomes really janky, and
Mm.
it just creates havoc on a retreat. So yes, you can co-facilitate with somebody, but you better be clear on every aspect of that retreat. Who's marketing to how and why, and what you're saying, and everyone's responsibilities, and how many hours you're teaching. What does that look like? What are your processes? How are you going to do it on this retreat? What are your expectations at the end? Are you making an offer? Are you making an offer? Like, what's going to happen? How are you splitting the money? Whose insurance it's under, who's taking the money. There are
It's a
so many issues that could just rip a retreat apart. I don't even co-facilitate anymore. I don't even
But
bother.
do you have other people to help you hold space?
Well, yeah, I have an assistant with me, but they're not bothering my vibe and energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's
They're
100%.
supporting you.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
100% me,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm sharing, how I'm sharing it, as it comes through me.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no tension between someone else and how they want to do something and how something's coming through for me. And
Yes.
it can be quite challenging. Now, I've seen besties do retreats together and it be amazing. And that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're afraid to do a retreat because you don't know how to totally market, and you feel uncomfortable and you're not sure how to facilitate, and that's why you're having a co-facilitator, I rather you take one of our courses, learn how to be on your own properly, than be coming into your retreat out of fear because you don't know what you're doing and you're depending on someone else. And then the retreat energy falls apart because you
Mm-hmm.
are not in the right place energetically on your retreat and you're depending on somebody else.
And you're not ready if you feel that way, like you say. And that leads me nicely to your program, your
Thank you.
retreat, your
Blueprint.
retreat blueprint program.
Exactly. We've been teaching this, Jen, since 2014. We've taught, in all of our courses, over 10,000 students. And look, we've managed through the travel company, and what we've done between all of us, over 1,000 retreats. It's strange. Since COVID, all these people have come out of the woodwork and are trying to teach retreats now. I just saw some gentlemen saying, I've done 30 retreats. I'm like, really? We've done over 1,000. I have seen everything pretty much that can go wrong on a retreat. And you've got
And
to have
everything that
that,
can go right.
and that too. So
But
it's
yes.
like we feel, not coming from an ego place, but just coming from an experiential place, we feel like we have the most experienced staff and program in the business. And so it is an online program with forever coaching. So it's very unusual in that, a lot of online courses, they end like in however many months it is, and you get the content forever, but no more coaching. We're forever coaching. You join our retreat blueprint program, and 5 years from now, if you have a retreat and you want coaching from us, we have twice a month a 2-hour coaching call. You can come on and get coaching. Also in the Facebook group, you have a question 2 years from now, you want us to look over your contract with your venue, come in the Facebook group, post it, we will look at it for you. And so it's a very tight community, and it is a very special program. And if people want to get to know us better, Jen, I have like an ebook that people are more than welcome to download for free. And
Yeah.
if they do that, we invite them to a webinar training, which is excellent. And I show, like, I talk about pricing, legalities, sales pages, monetizing your retreat. It's really gives an overview so you get an idea of what you're getting yourself into and what you know and don't know. There's also a really great assessment quiz in there that you can take, and it'll tell you exactly what you know and what you don't know. So I know you're going to share that link with your
Yes.
audience, so they're more than welcome. Our website is wanderlustentrepreneur.com.
.com.
Yes, but I'd love them to pick up the little ebook because they're going to learn, and I want to share my passion with people, and that way they have a deeper understanding before they go to purchase something, because I want them to really understand who we are, what we do, and why we do things the way we do them.
And I downloaded the ebook, I watched the webinar, and I also bought, you also, I don't know whether you still offer it, but you also offer sort of not a program as such, but some really helpful tools and resources about how to cost your retreat out, how to make sure that you're getting all the costs in, and how to price your retreat. And there was some other things in there as well, which, and as I said in the beginning earlier on, Sheri is incredibly generous with her expertise and her knowledge and the tools and resources that she gives. And the Facebook group, I was and doing this interview has really reignited everything again.
Yay!
and yes, that focus, and yeah, Sheri is very helpful with that, with your Facebook group and all the other the other thing about your Facebook group that I love, I just want to share this with the listeners as well, that anyone's looking at retreat, Sheri allows other people, there's so much information on that group, and you will answer, or your team will answer questions that people have. So there's completely free advice there for people to get to know you, as you said. And there's also people that advertise, or but promote, not heavily, but no, not the word, but share, that's a good word, share their retreat locations.
Yes,
Which I love.
Venues
yes,
are allowed to advertise in the
yes,
group because it's a service. We don't have the group for people to just post retreats in there.
No,
I don't want
meant
an
the
ad.
venues.
Yeah, it's not an ad fest. We want you not to advertise to strangers, but to market to your list, which is why we don't allow that. But people do post their trip pages if they want feedback. If they're having trouble filling a retreat, they can post their sales page and then say, what is going on? Why can't I fill my retreat? And then, of course, we can help with that. So yes, I appreciate it.
Anything else that you want to add, Sheri? I think we covered really a good amount.
I think we have, Jen, and I would encourage people to really think about adding something very intimate into their business and thinking about pricing it properly, because the more intimate you are with the people, I think the higher the price should be. And I think this is a great way to add a different income aspect to your business. And you can also, at the end of the retreat, make an offer for follow-up with your people, which I think is a great thing. So you actually realize not only you're taking people on a physical journey, but you're taking people on a journey. And so the retreat is one part of it, and whatever comes afterwards is another part of it, hopefully.
Yes, and I highly recommend you checking out those links and looking into Sheri and her amazing Wanderlust retreat company. So thank you so much for your time, and we will see you again next episode. Click on the link, share, subscribe, like, all those wonderful things. Thank you, Sheri. Take care.
Thank you so much, Jen. You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.